Okay, everybody, we are live streaming. This is Celia Israel, State Representative, and how are you all doing? We miss you. We miss talking to you in person, hugging you in person. But we decided we would bring some smart people on board, and in my case, that means bringing on State Representative Gina Hinojosa, who's here live from Central Austin. Gina is a valued member of our delegation, and another, not because she's just smart, but Gina was on the AISD school board and a mom of younger children, so double challenge there. Gina, thank you for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thanks for organizing.
My friend and constituent, Karen Reyes. Karen is a counselor in the Pflugerville ISD, been in the education field for over 17 years. So live from a place called Pflugerville, Texas, is Karen Reyes. Karen, thank you for joining us today. You all look fabulous.
Thank you, Representative.
We're doing our best to be sharp in this era. We're going to do these once or twice a week, just different topics, different discussions, and a topic that has come up for many of us is how in the heck families are doing what they're doing to keep their kids on task, on schedule, connecting with schools, and of course, how are teachers and administrators doing what they're doing, because many of them, of course, are dads and moms and have their own responsibilities. So many different family dynamics are happening right now. So just as a reminder, I'm State Rep District 50, which is Northeast and Northwest Travis County. Gina, State Rep for a big chunk of the middle part of Travis County. Gina, why don't I let you get us started? What are some of the concerns that you have, not only as a legislator, but just as a mom who knows what these professionals are going through and what these families are going through right now?
Well, none of us have ever been through this, and so there's a lot to figure out. In fact, I had a conversation with my middle schooler today saying, look, I don't know how, I'm figuring this out too. I don't have the answers. We're trying to figure this out together. And it's frustrating, and layer on top of that, work and all sorts of family stresses that are just a reality. So it's hard. And there's also, we're not completely sure yet, at least in AISD, how grades are going to go. And we know it's pass fail in AISD, but we're not sure how we determine how that's going to happen. There's also huge disparities in terms of what's happening from classroom to classroom and school to school. In our conversation that I had last week with the superintendent and Representative Eddie Rodriguez, it was clear that a lot of this is on the shoulders of principals to figure out who've never done this either. And so it's just, they're just disparities from school to school, classroom to classroom, and definitely from family to family. In my own kids' class, there was a sister of a classmate of my son, second grade, who said, hey, help, to the whole class of parents. I work, I can't pick up the homework assignments. My sister can't figure out how to get online for the daily class check-in. The person she's with at home doesn't know how to do this. And so, you know, just kind of highlighted in a very close way to my family the disparities from family to family. And so figuring out how to support all families as we go through this is a big challenge.
Yeah. Karen, that's obviously a valid concern. Different families, different tools, different resources. Not everybody gets the, I want to say, not all of us are working from home. Some have a mom or a dad or a grandmother, whoever, who is working in the grocery industry or in the transportation industry. So what's been your experience as a counselor, and what kind of role do you have right now to play? What's your
as an elementary school counselor, we're trying to maintain contact, and the teachers are doing a fabulous job of staying in contact with the kids. And as much as they can. And some families don't have that feasibility. They don't have access to technology or Wi-Fi or internet access. And so, that's another challenge that you put in all of this. And so I think families and their current struggles, day-to-day life, like Hinojosa mentioned, day-to-day life is stressful in and of itself. And now we put this over the top, and the kids feel that. They absolutely feel, whether it's worry for mom and dad that luckily do have a job, and them not understanding that at whatever level and whatever age. I have 2 teenagers, and they understand and they don't understand all at the same time. And I think that's fair for kids in lots of different, in all ages. And the necessity for parents to kind of give grace and have that time with the kids, whether it is to answer questions or even play games, and ask for that, because every family is at a different space, whether it's finding work or being laid off or not having work, and the uncertainty, and just the uncertainty of the virus and the health and safety and basic needs, whether it's food and shelter. And if there's not a feeling of safety, then kids can't learn.
Karen, what are some tools that you would recommend? I mean, stress levels are high, and I know some of us are like, well, we're in denial sometimes that the stress is really there. And I would imagine if I was a parent, I'd be doing my best to kind of bottle it all up. And that's not healthy, right? So what are some conversations that can be
think that kind of, as an adult, we want to protect the kids, and we don't want to let them know, but whether we tell them in words or not, our bodies communicate our stress. And so having, there's some resources that I shared on your website, and different, but talking to the kids about what COVID is. And there's, whether it's coming from the CDC or there's different from NAMI, or, lots of different things, but how to talk to them and just let them know, I don't have the answer either. I don't know when this is going to go away, and I don't know, how it's going to get fixed, and when you're going to get to see your teacher again. And just kind of being okay to sit in that uncertainty, and letting them know that even though it's uncomfortable, you're there together. And I think kind of all of this change has been very quick and very, kind of overwhelming for us. But one of the positives is that many of us were home, and whether we're working from home and we're overwhelmed with those, at the same time, we do get FaceTime with each other more. And so even taking 2 minutes, I use the Calm app a lot, personally and at work. And it's just kind of a quick mindfulness meditation. I think just stopping and getting real with the kids, whether it's playing a game, playing charades, playing cards, going outside and laying in the grass, or doing chalk outside. And it doesn't have to be a long time. But those human connections that, because of the social distancing and everything else, that have been taken away, and we're social beings, and to have that be removed, but to allow that more as a family, and whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes, to allow themselves the opportunity to do that. And it might be that we can't take a break, but can we help cook, or can we help do laundry, and kids can sort laundry, or lots of different things, but trying to put things so that, and routines in place so that kids and families can interact together. And that feeling, and the many times kids don't know how to ask what's happening. Are you going to be okay? Is my grandma going to be okay? Is my tia going to be okay? And they don't have the words to express that. And so just kind of being with each other and providing that sense of safety and belonging for the kids.
Gina, how are you guys handling it, or what are some of the tools that you've heard that other families are using? Because you know, me and my dog are doing just fine, but they like that I'm here. So I
Yeah.
know I don't mean to speak for parents who have a different level of stress and difficulty.
Well, there's so much online. I mean, if you have access to the internet at home, there's museums have opportunities to see exhibits online. There's
Virtual tours.
what that yeah, virtual tours. There's even art classes online that you can tap into. So I think getting outside is important. I think the rhythm of the days are totally different now for us. We're not leaving the house, and I think it's really easy to forget to go outside and pass your day inside. And in fact, that's what we did, unfortunately, today. Yesterday, we were more mindful about getting outside, and that was helpful. But taking that time, we're doing a lot more cooking as a family, and we're having time to middle of the day sit down and everybody come to the table, the second grader, the eighth grader, and nobody can bring phones and we connect. But also to what Karen was saying, just taking some time. My son wanted me to sit down with them and he's trying to figure out some Legos thing. And he said, I need help. I said, I don't know how to help you. He said, just sit with me. Just sit with me. So I did, and I sat with him for like 15 minutes, and it just totally changed his attitude. So I don't know. I mean, it's a struggle, and it's constantly changing. And like my son today, he was awarded Star Kid of the Day, and he said, "Well, but when this happens, I'm supposed to be at school, and then I get to pick a prize out of the box." And this is not right because I'm not even at school. It doesn't even count. And the thing is that even though my kids love to complain they hate school, there's a part of them that is missing it and is, I think, mourning for those connections. And when I said, well, school's over until you're not going to go back there until next school year. I mean, I've said that many times, but it's like it hasn't sunk in.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's just strange, surreal times. And I think our kids are struggling with that in a way that's greater than we
Karen,
realize.
you want to speak to that?
Yeah, and it's an absolute unknown. They've been used to being student of the month with all their friends at school and having that celebration. It's a little bit anticlimactic for them. And how do I celebrate when I don't have my friends and community to celebrate the things that I've always seen happen? And so that creates uncertainty for them too. And it's the uneasiness and the what's going to happen and what's going to be, and that permeates everything at this point. And there's different like social emotional learning resources of how do I stop and recognize what I'm feeling, and even giving kids the opportunity to, what am I feeling right now, because this all feels pretty mixed up, and that's a hard thing. There's days that I don't really know what I'm feeling because I'm sad and I'm worried and I'm scared.
One of the things that
the kids know that, and so
it seems like we're going to the number one. I want to thank all the kids out there who are doing their best. I want to thank the teachers who are doing their best. Everybody, the counselors, the administration, who moved pretty quickly, obviously, from early spring break, suddenly emergency spring break, to just changing our entire system and way of doing things. So a shout out to everybody who's doing the best you can right now. But I think we also need to give space to the mental health part of all of this, which is, okay, we're doing the best we can. You're telling us, you as professionals are saying, and as moms are saying, be honest, be real, still find structure for your kids, but then post sequester or whatever it is, uh, uh, being in place the way we are, we're going to have after effects for this. And I don't want to, it's not like we're in war or anything, but when we get back to some sort of normal, what are some tools, Karen, that we should be mindful of when we, to just be patient with ourselves, that we're gonna get through this somehow. And it's okay to,
Absolutely. Struggle through it. I think just that, people having the space and giving themselves, not only themselves but others, whether it's coworkers or spouses or partners, giving themselves the space to be in a state of kind of uncertainty, and then also how do we repair and recover from this? And I think absolutely, physical activity, and for kids, it's so important that the kids are still playing, even on up into middle school and high school. And I know that many of them are fortunate to have their phones, and whether it's Instagram or all of that. At the same time, that basic need for play, and right now it has to be individual, but brain development and social emotional kind of balance and well-being, and that can happen just through normal play. And it doesn't have to be with a lot of toys. It doesn't even have to be with toys. And so as parents, just kind of remembering what that just very basic level of play from very young children, and remembering a time that we did that, or we've watched other kids do that, and giving ourselves permission to let our kids do that right now, instead of plugging into technology, which is so helpful and necessary in a way to kind of disconnect from all the stress, but letting kids have that opportunity too. I know we've played lots of card games, and I think that twofold. Not only is it stress relieving, it's creating their sense of community and safety, and that somebody's going to be there. And sometimes that's an older sibling, and sometimes it's an aunt or uncle. But just kind of reaching out when it's too much, reaching out to people that can help, whether it's your school or your church or different organizations. But your local schools are here to help and support. And we don't have all the answers for this either, but all of us working together are going to be able to fix it.
One of the things go ahead, Gina.
Well, I know when we've had the opportunity to do a FaceTime and bring in family members from different places for my kids, I sense a kind of lightening in their moods. And I think, today I sent my son on a FaceTime call with a friend, and for like 45 minutes, he was showing him this Legos. And I think just trying to maintain that outside connection, because after a while, I think the heaviness that the parents are dealing with in the house is just kids sense it and needing that outside outlet at this point. But that's really the only way we can do it is virtually. Yeah. But I've noticed that is helpful to get that connection.
Yep, we're doing a live Q&A if anybody has any comments, and of course this video will live on after we're done here. I know Rep. Hinojosa and myself, our staffs are available to you guys for any questions. I see a comment from Eva Montes, who's with our Physician Assistants Association, acknowledging I have parents of my young patients calling the office more about emotional stress in school-age children. So it's real. We need to be respectful of that. As we wrap up, Rep. Hinojosa, you and I have another, and all of our colleagues are going to have another challenge. After the election, we come back in January and meet again. And who would have thought that we would, and after a session where we put in billions of dollars of resources to uplift our professionals and our children in public school, we're going to have to defend all of those gains that we made during a really traumatic economic period. So I don't know about you, but you know, it's going to be difficult in this political environment and this economic time to do that. What are some of your thoughts as we look to our legislative responsibilities?
So next session, well, to make sure that we protect the money that we secured for our public schools, because we know our budget is not going to be, it's going to be a difficult budget year. And there are now even greater concerns that our school districts need to deal with because of this. For instance, there's a lot of remediation that's going to need to happen next year, because as I mentioned before, there's huge disparities, and I think we need to, as a system, just anticipate, you know, we're just going to have to do a lot of remediation for kids next year to get them where they should be, and across the board. I also think we need to think about how, because of this lost time, we need to reevaluate where we are in testing as a state, and the accountability system that we are putting on our schools when our schools have lost basically a half year of school, and looking at, does it make sense to hold the same standard for accountability when our schools are going through this, and really the emotional is such a big piece of it too, that the academics is secondary. And third, you know, one of my big concerns in all of this is how our kids in special education are managing through this, because we know as a state we've already not really done right by these kids and these families, and it's just, this is just exacerbating. I'm exasperated because it's exasperated. And so that's another big concern to me. And how are we going to provide those families and those students the support they need to get where they need to be?
Yeah. Well, again, for all of you young people and kids who are watching, who are doing your best, thank you. We need you to keep your structure, and we all need to do our best right now during these difficult times. And I know that the teaching professionals are there for us. If there's any parents out there who are struggling and don't know what to do, we're going to post some resources for you all. The school supports are there for you too. If anybody says, I don't know how to teach, I don't know how to say this in a different way, I know that your teachers and your school administrators want to hear from you and be there for you. Karen, any last thoughts before we sign off?
Just let's partner together. I think with all of us, that I think one of the great things is that we all are relying on each other more, and even without seeing each other, there does seem to feel like a greater community. And so I may not have a need today, but something might happen and I have a need tomorrow, and whether it's food or school supplies or just an ear to talk to. As schools, we're support, and we're your absolute partner, and the parents are doing a great job, and just to help communicate with us on what their level is also.
Yeah.
One thing that we've done in Pflugerville is we've have 9 different locations where kids can, any child can come and get food, breakfast, lunch, or dinner. And so, as I mentioned before, those kind of basic needs, but for families, trying to eliminate those very basic things so that they can focus on other things. And I think just continuing to reach out and partner together. And I know that I've seen more people also jumping in to help. And there's much more collaboration, and I feel a greater sense of community. And I just hope that continues.
Yeah, agreed. I feel this. I feel the same way in the different silos of our lives. Perhaps I hope that we'll look back on this time and be proud of the way that we behaved as humans on the planet Earth. Gina, any final thoughts or suggestions on this topic? And maybe we'll have another one.
No,
It's a big
I just want to thank you for organizing it. I think it's important. I think parents are feeling they're on their own because we don't get to see others and share our struggles and frustrations. And I think it is important for parents everywhere to understand it's not just your kids who are super defiant about homeschooling, because my kids are there. I mean, we're all struggling to do this together and we're all doing the best we can. And at the end of the day, we do our best to keep our kids healthy and reasonably educated.
Yeah, well, thank you to all the moms and dads out there. Thank you to Karen for joining us. Thank you to all the teachers who are also moms and dads and having to do your thing. I say a lot. I could never do the job that you guys are doing. And now in this era of pandemic, I don't know how you're doing it, but I salute all of you for doing an amazing job. Thank you all for joining us. Stay in touch. Be good to each other and stay safe. Take care.
Good night. Thanks, Leah. Thank you, Karen.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night. Thank you.